Hello everyone, I'm just going to do a bit of an assignment 1 update. I've just published all of your marks and I'm getting lots of emails and that's totally okay. The good news I'll start off with is you can resubmit your assignment. So only for assignment 1 can you resubmit your assignment. But I want to give you a little bit of feedback. You should have a little bit of feedback in your notes, but I just want to go over some common things that I saw and how to certain ways to get to 100% really quite easily. Most of your assignments were good, but I did mark very critically just to try to get you to sort of understand my expectations. So go through some basic notes here, and I will tell you how you can. I can tell you sort of how to improve. So the first thing that I noticed was that a lot of the instructions weren't followed. And when I say the instructions, I mean the questions weren't answered in a direct way. So what I was looking for was for a vision statement. My instructions asked you to research vision statements, what they mean. And lots of times, some students gave me bullet points of 10 different things they want to do. That's not a vision statement. Some students gave me extremely vague answers like to be the best, not a vision statement. So things that, to improve, go back in, look up what your vision statement is, and do research what it should be, right? So it should be 1 or 2 sentences, it should be direct, it should clearly state where you want to be or what you're going to be at a very specific time. The same can be said about SMART goals. So again, a lot of students gave me bullet points, they just gave me generic goals. And they missed the first part of SMART goals, or they didn't use the SMART format, so maybe they didn't realize that SMART actually is an acronym, although my video did mention that. But when it came to the SMART goals, I found that the key was that most students just were not specific. They were not very clear. So if you tell me your goal is to be the best in class, or to do the best you can, well, I don't know where you are now, and I don't know what the best you can is. So if you were to tell me that you would like to complete all 10 assignments a day before the deadline and receive 90% or higher, that would be a very specific SMART goal. So then you could follow up with how you can measure achievable, realistic, and you can follow through the process. So I'll summarize the first section. By most students lost marks by not being specific and not doing the research on what they were actually supposed to do. So again, look at the instructions again, watch the video, and make the changes that you need to make. So that was the first thing. I think most students can probably add a point or 2 on there, and we'll go through the rubric as well. The second thing is the spelling and grammar. So almost every single student had spelling and grammar mistakes. Some students only had 1, some students only had 2, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but we're at a college level of education now. So your English has to be essentially perfect. You don't need to use, spectacular and large words, but you do need to make sure that your basic grammar from our English in high school is followed. When you go through, if English is your second language or you're just not great with spelling and writing, take advantage take advantage of a friend who is good at it. Get your work edited. At the very least, put your work into Microsoft Word and see if any squiggles pop up below it. That's a good start. But go through and I would recommend, these assignments are worth 12% each. So see if somebody can edit your work. And at the very least, if you've done the Microsoft Word but you have no one to help you edit, do the read out loud test. That's just where you read your paper out loud to yourself, and if it sounds funny, it probably reads funny. Almost every single student lost marks, in some cases a lot of marks, because they didn't edit their work. At this level, for this class, you must edit your work. So technical specifications. So I'm just going to pop on down to our rubric here. And we just spoke about our grammar and spelling here. So to have full marks, you need no spelling or grammar mistakes. Not only a few, one or two will get you 2, but to be perfect, you need no. So go through. Most students can honestly get between 3 and 1 marks added to their project when they resubmit, just by going through and cleaning up their grammar and their spelling. We spoke about the material, so I hope I cleared that up, what I'm looking for. Again, just a reminder, I don't want vague. I want you to show me that you've done the research and that you're applying the concepts. So let's just talk a little bit about technical specifications. So some students, now not many, but some students just submitted their work in piecework and lots of screenshots. I was looking for one infographic. I did give a little bit of instruction on how to put it together to save money. If you used it and it's asking you to upgrade, just using the print screen function and then just pasting it together in Paint. But it did require a little bit of effort, and most students did do it. But if you didn't, you would have lost marks, right? Because if the project didn't look good, or if it looked clumsy because it was all in pieces, it didn't make sense, you would have lost marks. The other thing is that there's still a little bit of confusion for the references. So your references, I just stole this from a student's work. I've just copied it. They've given me the references on the bottom. They copied that in. They've used the Microsoft Word references. This is great. Throughout the work, I did want to see the brackets of the author when it was used and the date. So just like you can insert in a document, you can also insert the same format in your work. But this is what I would like to see. For week 2, you'll be submitting a podcast. So include those references in the website you're hosting on, in the document when you submit it. Just make sure I have access to those references. So that would kind of cover technical specifications. A lot of students did actually a lot better than normal. I'm happy to see a lot of students put in a lot of effort on this. Finally, creativity. So this was a little all over the board, but saw some excellent. Actually, I think for the most part, pretty well done. There was just some basic errors. So I know Venage or Pictochart, you have to submit your text box, but if you have everything in this column and then this one starts here, it just doesn't look, so if it's not aligned, people would use different fonts in the same, so S, M, A, R, all of a sudden their font would change mid-sentence or something like that would happen, probably from copying over from Word or whatever happened. But you just need to make sure that those little bits, so even fonts being too small, if it's hard to read, then just the creativity, just the way it's put together isn't going to get you full marks. So if you're looking for exact, it's not necessarily exact. I'm looking for sort of basic, almost common sense answers. If you have to squint to read it, then you should probably increase the font, spread out the work a bit. If it's not aligned, well, we should get it aligned and make it work. I thought the color schemes and a lot of the icons used, things like that, were very good. I think most students won't need to really change much of that. Just a little bit of cleaning up the font. Perhaps your work was a little too tight or needs to be spread out. But for the most part, you'll be able to just improve just 1 or 2 things to get an extra mark. So overall, a lot of these are very quick and easy changes to get full marks. The other thing is that your material might take you a little longer if you were on the vague side or didn't follow the instructions. But I want to say that there is good news. You are going to get a chance to resubmit. I'm just looking here at our deadlines. So assignment 1 was due on the 20th. What I'll do right now is I'm going to change this to October 31st. That's 1 day before assignment 6. The reason is I've given an extra week here to kind of get caught up because I know that this course can get a little burdensome. So I've given a little breather week. What I don't recommend you doing is rushing to get through and resubmitting this right away. You have a month and a week, 5 weeks. What I would recommend doing is focusing on your assignment 2. So I've given you some instructions. Go back, watch my assignment 2 instructions, really understand the content, make sure you read it. If you haven't started already, you're going to want to get started. I mentioned in the welcoming video, my expectation is that these projects take you 4, 5, 6 hours, right? Because this is in lieu of 3 hours of class time and 3 hours of homework per week and reading. So if it looks like the project took you 1 hour or 2 hours, that will be reflected in your marks, right? I'm expecting this to really have a good feel to it. So don't worry about resubmitting this. You will get a chance to resubmit in the next 5 weeks. I'm going to change this right now to October 31st. And then please resubmit and I will regrade your mark. So as you can see here, I'm just changing it to be due October 31st. And now, here we go. You can resubmit and you will get remarked. One final reminder, you cannot resubmit any assignments or hand in late anything. So these next 9 are strict due dates. I should say all these 10 assignments now are strict due dates. It's a courtesy on assignment 1, so you and I you can kind of understand what my expectations are. But after that, you will need to do it. So again, please don't focus on assignment 1 for the next few days. Focus on your assignment 2. You will get some extra breathing room here in the next few weeks to get assignment 1 done. If you're happy with your mark or you think you just want to continue on, that's totally fine. I'm actually taking your best 8 of 10 assignments. So I'm going to knock your worst 2 off. So good luck, everyone. Please email me if you have some questions. I will respond in as quickly as I can. Again, I don't typically work on the weekends. You might get lucky and get a response from me, but I wouldn't count on it. So if you need help, it's best that you reach out early and try to send me sort of specific questions. So if it's, tell me, would you do this or how can I improve on this? Those are great. But if you just send me your clip and ask me to pre-mark it, it's sort of harder to give you feedback because, it's easier if I kind of know where you're going with things. But we can talk about that. I'm rambling now. Have a great weekend. Good luck, everyone. And I look forward to seeing your assignment too.